Hello, hello. Happy Friday. How we doing, Johnny Mo?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good, good. It's been quite the week for us. So that's fits right into our topic for this week. But what's new?
Um, Everything. New horizons, new ideas, new visions, new people coming on. All sorts of new things, right?
Yeah,
Paradigm shifts are happening. They're going to happen. They will happen. I mean, paradigm shift shouldn't be a scary word. It just means changing consumer behavior, changing habits. So these are real, evident, and happening all the time. So trying to figure out and stay ahead of them, and hiring people that are half my age because they understand, not me.
yeah. It is amazing. It's funny. Somewhere in your 30s, you take the turn from being like the young guy to being like the older guy. Like now you're the experienced guy. You're the one starting to like train and show the ways to the others, and you don't realize that change has happened until you actually get into it. Then you're like, oh wait, like I'm now one of the more experienced veterans, and I'm not the young guy anymore. So here we are.
Wait till you get to 50.
Yeah. Well, at 50, I think you kind of assume that's going to happen. Like in your 30s, it just kind of like smacks you upside the head that
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you're not the young one anymore. But
Life is a continual proving ground.
yeah, it is. It is. And we're either what is it? Grant Cardone says, you're either growing or you're dying. Um, and I, still to this day, I feel like I learn something new every day, whether it's in this technology space, business, from conversations with people. That's one of the cool things about this industry is how many people are willing to have open conversations and dialogues with you and share what they know and share what they've seen. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that opportunity to continue to learn from some really great people and learn in areas that I have no knowledge of. Which listening to you and David Tam yesterday, I understood like 3% of what you talked about, but it was cool.
Hmm. I understood about three and a half.
Yeah. Well, it is fascinating just how different
I'm
things
I'm
are.
dangerous enough to know what needs to be done and have the basic conversations around it. When you start getting into some of these things, when you start getting into the implementation of it and stuff like that, I trust you.
Yeah, it's I I had a moment the other night where I was kind of looking back on the week and it was last night and thinking about what would have been going on and I kind of had this moment. I was looking back at my calendar at the meetings I've had and the people I've been able to talk to and the people I've been introduced to this week, and you have that realization of like these are people that I've long admired, these are people I've long followed, these are people I've listened to their podcasts or watched their videos or listen to them speak, and now I'm getting a chance to have meetings with them, whether it's a phone call or a video meeting, or we got more stuff scheduled into next week with some pretty cool people across the industry. And there's always that feeling like, yeah, I'm not making enough progress. I'm not getting there. Like who am I? I'm a nobody. And then you start to see the people you begin to attract, and you realize that although you're doing all that work and it feels like you're going nowhere sometimes, progress is happening. It's always slower than we think it is, but progress is happening. And I was kind of blown away recapping the week at the people that this past 5 days, um, I've had the opportunity to speak with, which are people that I never in a million years thought I'd get that opportunity with. So it's
And it
hard.
only happens when you do the work. It doesn't happen by chance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it might have been a chance that you got to talk to this person or that person or whatever like that. But if you didn't put yourself out there, that opportunity doesn't exist.
yeah, and I think that our topic today is we're going to go through kind of breakdowns and breakthroughs. Getting into those tough decisions and and sticking with it when it's hard. I feel like we've kind of ridden a roller coaster the last month or so of highs and lows, good and bad. We've had some breakdowns, we've had some breakthroughs, and I think that's the part of real estate and entrepreneurship and business that we don't talk about. Like everybody celebrates the wins and puts their highlight reel on social media, but there's also the days that you just want to scream. You feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're on this treadmill. And as much as those days suck, it's those days that make you enjoy the win, that get you to the point where you get to enjoy that win. And we don't talk about that a lot. We just want to celebrate where we've come from and pay no attention to how we got there.
The great philosopher Mike Tyson once said, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." Right?
I
So
love that line.
we can have all the plan. I got spreadsheets upon spreadsheets. At this point, I was supposed to own 500 properties, and I was going to be a mega slumlord of New Hampshire. So I got business plans. I got spreadsheets. I got all these other things. But life happens,
Yeah.
right? Life happens. And whether you're in business, whether you're in life happens, right?
Yep.
In business, things happen, changes, shifts. That's why SWOT analysis isn't so important. You need to understand your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external. And when you actually take the time to look at these things and slow down, I know that without going into detail, there was a big decision to be made this week. And, we had to make the decision, but you had to make the decision. And I lent my ear and I lent my perspective and logics and things like that, so you can make the decision. And sometimes we have to stop.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to stop. I was so overwhelmed this past week with things that I'm trying to get done,
Mhm.
trying to get the syllabus done for the group coaching, trying to get everybody on board, trying to collect videos from everybody, trying to get scripts out, trying to get the new marketer on board, get them access to everything, right? And get them inculcated into our system so I can hand that particular piece off.
Yep.
But we still had to make some difficult decisions. There's difficult decisions every single day. And I can tell you that there's a beautiful horizon with some of those decisions, but also some of the other things that we're working on.
Yep.
And none of this happens if you allow the difficult time to become negative and the stinking thinking to start coming in. If you don't have clarity on exactly what is the goal and what's the best purpose and, which is the best 30, 60, 90, 5-year approach,
Yep.
then none of that happens. And yeah, you need to celebrate the wins, but you also have to appreciate the kick in the teeth. You have to appreciate the fall down. And I learn more from those fall downs than I do, but you can't forget about those because they make that win feel so much better, right? It feels so much better. Just take the Super Bowl, for instance.
Hmm.
You don't score a touchdown every time you touch the ball, right? You might fumble. You might get out on downs and have to punt. You might kick a field goal. You might get a touchdown. You might get intercepted, right? There's all these things that can happen. But when you win, sweet victory is upon you,
Yep.
right? Even if you lost the Super Bowl, you're still in the Super Bowl and so many other people aren't, right? So you got to look at those wins and understand that the wins require a whole bunch of losses,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch of tough decisions.
Yeah. And I mean, I think about, I think back to that New England Patriots. Obviously, we're New England people, so we're Patriots fans mostly. And I think back to that 28-3 game against the Falcons there in the Super Bowl. I mean, the Patriots were getting their teeth kicked in. That game was over from everybody's opinion. And that's a case of that's an extreme low during the game. But because they stuck with it, because they stuck to the game plan, because they kept coming back out and doing the work, they end up coming all the way back to win that game. First time in Super Bowl history, a lead of that size had been overcome and a game was won in overtime. But you can quit. You can hang your head and say, it didn't work out and quit and bail, or you can just stick to the plan, keep showing up down after down, day after day, play after play, just continue to come out and do it. And as you were talking about this coaching program, there's a lot of work that goes into launching a coaching program. This is a potentially transformational coaching program. If people are serious about digital marketing and understanding how to build their brand, how to get in front of the community, how to rank on Google, how to have their SEO, cranked up so people find them. Like there's big business altering stuff we're going to teach, but that takes a lot to put together. And then there's the stress of, well, you got to map it all out. Then you got to kind of build that syllabus out. Then you got to get all the content created, and then you got to hope people want it. And that's always the battle. When you're lead generating for real estate clients or insurance clients or potentially borrowers if you're on the mortgage side, or for us if you're looking for people that want to get into this ecosystem and build their business this way and experience those results, there's always the question of, is somebody going to want it? Will it be accepted? And that is the stress being a small business owner, being an entrepreneur, is always, when I do all this, it doesn't mean anybody's going to want it.
That's 100% true, right? But you don't know unless you get there. And I need to go back to with what you started about the Falcons game.
Mm.
We do. You heard of all the Latin mottos and stuff like that, right? We in New England have our own motto, and it's "In Tom We Trust."
Yep.
So diehards didn't worry. We knew Tom was going to have a good comeback. Don't get me wrong, defense won that game.
For sure.
defense won that game for
For
them
sure.
in the end, right?
Yep.
But to put yourself out there takes an immense amount of confidence, right? Because you're trying something different that other people may not be.
Yep.
And about the group coaching program, yeah, you're going to learn Google from two different Google people, one on the basic level, what you need to be doing, one on an expert, right? That was invited by Google to learn from. Google invited this guy to learn from. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it in.
Google brought this guy in to teach them how Google works.
Right. And how he was cracking the code and stuff. So it's really important that if you're going to put yourself out there, put yourself out there.
Yep.
But know exactly what you're putting yourself out there for. Know exactly what the plan is. And like I said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Know what the fallback plans are and things like that. And don't be discouraged. Like I said, everybody in the world would be saying, hey, listen, if we launch this group coaching program, we want 100 people. I'm happy if we get 20. Right. So I'm different. It's not a cheap program. It's a more expensive program. I don't want everybody.
Right? Yeah. It's not for everybody. It just isn't.
For everybody. Yeah. It's about digital marketing, social media, how to run ads, and the importance of video, digital, and social, and how people have revolutionized their business with it, and the things that you should be focusing on, because the paradigm, it's happening. Consumer habits change constantly. The attention span of people change constantly. So if you're not constantly putting yourself out there to get to the most important thing, which is this,
yep,
the relationship, you might be left behind.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. And the reality of it is with everything, you're always there's always a reason why not. It's not the right time. You're not ready. It's not perfect, et cetera, et cetera. All the things we tell ourselves why we can't do something. But in reality, the ones that have had success are the ones that just got started. Was it pretty at first? No. Was it perfect at first? No. Did it take time to iron it all out and make it work? Yeah. Did you go on your very first listing appointment and nail it? No, it's probably terrible. There are still days listing appointments after being on a bunch of them aren't great. There just is that situation. Sometimes it just doesn't quite go your way. Sometimes it just isn't the right fit. It's not the right situation. Doesn't mean you don't do it. Because if you don't put in the reps and you don't continue to show up, you don't get the opportunity. And for us, we are very much putting what we know, what we do out there to people who we think we can help. But at the end of the day, like, you can't force anybody to do anything. You're not going to convince somebody to do something they don't want to do or sign up for something they don't want. But that is always the risk in this, is that you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and the market goes, it was all right, but not for me. And I don't think we talk about that enough in this industry, where there are failures. There are massive failures. There are bumps in the road, and there are days that suck. And then there are days that where you feel like you're as high as can be. You're at the top of the mountain. Yeah. And it's being able to balance those. And that, I think, is the most difficult thing about being, an entrepreneur, being on your own, being responsible, is that you've got to be able to manage the ups and downs, manage that flow, and not drive yourself crazy doing it, because it's very easy to drive yourself crazy doing it.
It's very easy. Right. And then you start seeing the Cheshire cat when you walk around your house and say, what's going on? Because, at some point you got to ask yourself, am I delusional? Right. But,
am I convincing myself this is real when it's not?
Right. And the same thing is true with every real estate agent and broker out there starting. I mean, we just had a conversation about somebody we know that had all these business plans and everything all written and never executed, because they realized, I have no passion here.
Yep.
Right. I don't have any passion here. Nobody, a lot of people don't have purpose. And so when somebody says, oh, my purpose is to help 25 people with the goal of home ownership this year. Now that's your goal to hit your that's the number you need to hit your financial goal. Right. So when you can if there's no purpose, the decisions are easy. Right. They're reactionary decisions. What lead service do I sign up? I just get on the treadmill. I'm going to go sell 50 houses.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to evolve. I'm not going to do these things. They just get out there and they run. They sell their 50 houses a year, come into work every single day, make the same phone calls over and over and over and over and over again, send out the letters over and over and over and over again. Why? to sell 50 houses, sell 100 houses a year.
Yep.
Look at me go. To me, that's not winning. To me, that's just you create a high paying sales job for yourself, right? But how many people have we talked to or met that had these ideas and these ambitions and never executed them?
Yep.
Right. We all, you and I both, have had in our lives different ideas, different ambitions we either didn't go for or we tried and we failed on, or whatever they might be. But it's taking that first step, taking that first initiative. Anybody can put an idea on a piece of paper.
Right.
I heard this once. Where do you think they said, where do you think the wealthiest place on earth is? And the answer was the graveyard.
Yep.
Because all these good ideas died and nobody ever did anything with
Yep.
them, right? Don't let get out there, make a plan. This was a video that I made when I was up in Maine. I think maybe it was Monday. I think it might have been Monday or Sunday, up in my sister's. And, I basically said, take the first step today. What is it that you really, truly want to do? Write it down on a piece of paper. What's the first action plan?
Yep.
Do it. Order yourself some business cards. They're $15, $20. When you can touch it, smell it, and feel it, it becomes so.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
No. 100%. I heard this. Saying. I want to say it was at an event I was at maybe a couple of years ago. Actually, probably before COVID at this point. And it was something along the lines of, and I'm going to butcher it, but something along the lines of, don't be the person with a $10,000 business and $1 million notebook. A lot of us have plans and ideas and thoughts, and we put them down, we get all excited about it, and then we can just kind of set them aside. And we don't come back to them, because what we do is we go back to what we know, what we're comfortable with, what's working right now. And, I've been lucky enough to be able to mastermind and coach with and train with and be part of some really successful real estate teams. And what I'm always surprised by when you get behind the scenes is how many of them are not at all what they appear.
Most.
Either the profit of the team is driven entirely by the rainmaker because the rest of the team's not profitable, or cost structure is messed up, or in some cases I've seen teams doing high volume that are making no money. And what that is, it's this scarcity feeling where they just continue to pour more money into Zillow. I need more leads, more leads, more leads. And you had the great example we talked about the other day, Johnny Moe, of the person that did an audit of their CRM and found all these potential sales that went nowhere because it was the fear of, I need more coming in order to get more action. But in reality, you weren't doing anything with what was coming in. You were just letting it pour in because it made you feel good. It made you feel good to have stuff coming at you, but you weren't actually doing anything with it. And because of that, you were leaving a massive amount of money on the table, and you were spending money on leads you didn't need, and you weren't making any money in your business because you were hooked on that inflow, that you needed that inflow. When in reality, you weren't prepared for that inflow, and all you do is burning money.
I remember hearing something. I don't remember who said it. I think I know who said it, but I don't want to misquote somebody. So I'm just going to say it, paraphrase the quote. And if you ever heard of it, drop me a line and let me know who you think said it. And let's see if it matches up. But they had said something along the lines of, maybe it was 25, maybe it was 50. I'll take 50 of my ambassadors over 10,000 cold leads, and I'll make more money than you.
Yep.
Right. I'll do more with 50 ambassadors. And if you know who calls them the ambassadors, then you know who I might be thinking who it is.
Yep.
And 50 of those solid relationships, 50 of the advocates, right? Yep. It's the relationship. You can do more with what you have. You don't have to always have that constant of more. Now, that's not to take away from the fact that I like to follow the 1-9-90 rule. And I think everything in life probably, some people say the 80-20 rule. I think it's the 1-9-90 rule. 1% of people create content, 9% of people engage, and 90% people lurk. There's more money in those lurkers. So yes, we want to play to those people. Yes, we want to turn those engagers into relationships where we know the people, so we can turn that into business. At the end of the lead, at the end of the day, at the end of the sale, it only happens 9 times out of 10. There's circumstances, right? Like REO, there's circumstances like probate, there's circumstances where online and it was some crazy deal, whatever like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's because you shook somebody's hand, you met them, they know who your name is, you know what they smell like. The relationship. So the lurkers, the goal is to turn them into engagers and turn those engagers into relationships. You can't You need social media, you need digital marketing, and you need video to do all those things just so you can get to this point. But if you then you take those even 25.
Mhm.
I say my goal has always been to take my offline network and bring them online and bring my online network offline. I have more
Yep.
content than I could ever produce if I have 25 solid relationships.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say don't get us wrong. We're not saying the exchange is a bad thing. Like but there should be a balance. Like you do need the exchange to occur. You need to prospect and generate business. Like that is necessary. But
Sure.
along the same lines, you also need to be building those relationships, nurturing those relationships. Work in that database, work in that CRM. We talked to David yesterday, and he was saying that all the people he works with around the country, so many of them have tons of there's gold in their databases that they're just ignoring. They're not even getting back to him. You had that great example. He had other examples of, you don't need more leads. You don't need to buy more leads. You need to just take care of the people you already know. Because honestly, if you did that, you would have a steady stream of business. And I put out a video today talking about, personal branding and being in front of the consumer. And, do you want to compete for 100 houses a year or whatever your goal is, 20, 30, 50, 100? Do you want to compete for those? Do you want to be one of 3 agents being interviewed? Do you want to be making cold calls and sending letters? Or do you want 100 people a year to call you and say, hey, I'm ready. Can you come over and take a peek? Um,
Mhm.
it's different. It's very, very different. But if you treat that database right, and we did that live stream with Cynthia a few weeks ago, diving into ways to really nurture that database. If you treat that database right, as you meet people, as you put them in, if you nurture them with good quality communication, good quality content, you continue to build this baseline of business that just it continues to layer upon layer upon layer. So if 5% of people in your database are moving every year, if that database of 100 goes to 1,000, goes to 5,000, goes to 10,000, you continue to get 5% of them, you will reach a point in your database where you don't have to make another cold call in your whole life. You just have to take care of those people. And I see a lot of people in the industry going, oh, they work by referral only, ha ha ha, that's not a real thing. No, it is. It 1,000% is, because those people have built that database, nurtured that database, and they've got a group of people that when it comes to real estate are always going to come to them.
Mhm. And that's the goal. And I think using video, digital, and social is an amazing way to stay in touch with all those people. And that's where sphere hacking comes in, because when you're trusted with your friends, I mean, you never know what Sally and Tina might be talking about at tea or out for lunch. And,
Right.
and Tina might be thinking about selling her home or buying a home. And then Sally all of a sudden is talking to her. And then your video pops up. And then she sends her a message. Hey, remember, you should talk to Harrison or Johnny Moe. Here's their video,
Yep.
right? Here's their information, because that's what we want. We're all trained. The technology wasn't there, but we're all trained to ask for referrals, to nurture these clients into A clients and into ambassadors or advocates or our inner circle or whatever like that. But then what do? Call once per quarter, call once per month. Nobody wants to hear from you once a month asking for real estate business.
Yep.
They really don't. I wouldn't answer your fucking call.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. I mean, you know me. I don't even answer your call now, right? Unless I know you're calling. Um, I don't answer the phone. That's
Yeah.
weird, right? But
A little bit.
um, now all of a sudden, there's a way to stay in touch with people. That's the power of social media. That's the power of contribution. That's the power of video. That's also the power of digital marketing. It all works together. So while you got your Google LSA ad, you got your YouTube ad running with this particular thing, while you're out there running your good community based content and stuff like that,
Yep.
they have different purposes. Social media is to share and engage, right? Google is truly intent. YouTube is kind of intent, but also disruption too, but you can hack it to optimize it for Google, right? So there's different ways and different places. But imagine you have Sally sharing your video to Tina and say, this is the person that I would recommend. That's powerful,
It is.
right? And then
Yep.
Tina saying, hey, can we talk about selling my home? Or Tina sees your ads, because you know how the algorithm works. If it's
Mhm.
done right, they get sucked in. They're going to see your retargeting ad now. All of a sudden,
100%.
what's your home worth? What's your Scarborough home worth? Click here.
Yep.
Done. Right now, I caught you. Right.
Yep.
And set my little pixie dust traps
Yeah.
out. I got you.
Yeah.
You're never getting away now.
Yeah. So to bring that back to the topic today, kind of the breakdowns and breakthroughs piece. That those results we're talking about those are great results. Those are results everybody wants. But back to the idea of breakdowns and breakthroughs, like those don't just happen. Those don't just show up overnight. Like you have to do the work. You have to continue to do the work. You have to do the work even when it doesn't feel good, when you don't understand why you're doing it, when you feel like you're getting no results. Because when you're continuing to do the work and you're continuing to show up, you're that much closer to the next positive result. As we talk about in real estate, it's a numbers game. Every no, you're getting closer to your next yes. The same is true in business. The same is true in real estate. The same is true in title, mortgage. The same is true with content. You have to continue to do it. You have to continue to show up. And when you hit those points where you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not working. I don't understand why I'm doing this. Those are the moments where you either choose to break down and just say, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Or you break through and you stick with it and keep showing up. Because what I will tell you, and just like that concept of being 3 feet from gold, everybody tends to give up too quick. And you and I had the conversation a couple weeks ago of, do we make some tweaks here? Do we make some tweaks there? How do we get this thing to exactly where we want it to go? Because we're making progress, but the progress never comes at the speed that you want it to. And sometimes you have to have that moment where you just lose it and you put yourself back together once you get that out of your system and keep moving ahead. But we've been faced in the last couple of weeks with some really amazing opportunities and some really amazing options, and a chance to, I wouldn't say pivot, but a chance to kind of shift our network and our alignment a little bit that could potentially change our entire outlook. But it requires change. We have to do something different. We have to change what we're doing, how we're doing it, where we're doing it, who we're doing it with. And it's a decision that we talked about. I feel like we beat it up really good. We stressed over it. And then ultimately, like it became clear, but we had to go through that process of evaluating pros, cons, worst case scenario, best case scenario, to get to the point where we could actually make that decision. And I feel like we made the right call, and I feel like we're on the right path. But the process of that, everybody thinks it's just like, boom, here you go, and there it is. There's a process to actually understanding how you line up, where you need to be, how you make that next move. And it's not comfortable, and it's not easy, and it's not always simple. But you still have to do something. Doing nothing, which sometimes makes us feel good, if we just ignore it, it'll go away. Doing nothing is never going to get you where you want to go.
No, nothing isn't even an option. I'd like to summarize everything Harrison just said and what we've been talking about into these 4 words. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's entrepreneurship. That's real estate, right? Even with the 1990 rule, real estate, 1% of people actually really become that top mega producer. Let's just call it a mega producer, or that mega team or something like that, right? 1%.
Yep.
9% do well. Top producers do well, sell a bunch of homes, support your family, pay your taxes, get your insurance, right? 90% flop.
Yep.
And that's no different, right? It's no different than even with, everybody touts that it came from NAR somewhere. The statistic hasn't changed in 15 years. You think that it might. That 87% of agents fail. Somebody show me where that is written. Not in a blog, not in an article. Show me the data. Right? Show me the data. The data must exist somewhere. But they say 87% of agents fail. That's sales.
Mm-hmm.
People sell with fear. 87% of the agents are no longer in business. Some die. Right? Some retire. Some decide that real estate's not for them and they're going to go into a different direction. That's not failure.
Yeah.
Right. But so we'll just go with that. I just like to say that and point out where the lie is in everything. And that's what gets me in trouble. But anyways, let's just say 87% of the people fail like they like to tell you. Well, that's close enough to 90% for me to call it accurate.
Yeah.
Right. So the 1990 rule. And I used to say this about that too. So if 87% of people fail, that means 13% of people succeed. Let's focus on the ones that succeed. Out of that 13%, I used to say 1% truly really make it. 12% do, like I just said with the 9%, do pretty well.
Yep.
Top producer and do pretty well.
Yeah, they can make a living.
Make a living. And so pay for them insurances. Pay them taxes. Man, thanks you. So the 1990 rule is as real as the 8713 rule that somebody came up with. I can't find the data for.
Yeah,
right?
it's an old NAR stat that I think has been recycled, but I do think it's true. I do think between 80 and 90% of people, and fail is probably the wrong word, but are not in the business anymore. And whether it's because they're part-time, because they took another job, they had an opportunity that opened up that they went a different direction, they moved to a different state and figured I'm not going to get a new license, so I'm not going to use it. They retired. Like there's all kinds of reasons in life why we stop doing things, but there is a portion of those people that got to the breakdown part and never reached the breakthrough part. And the only way you go from breakdown to breakthrough is to go through it. The only way to get through the pain, the only way to get through the process is to go through it. There's no going around it. There's no going over it. There's no digging a hole and going under it. And thinking about it and fearing it and doing nothing also doesn't work. Like the only way you get to the breakthrough is to work through the breakdown. As uncomfortable as that feels, as yucky as that feels, as painful as that can be, you know, we as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we take risks. We take big risks. We gamble a little bit. Like that's in our nature. We're not afraid of risk. We're not afraid to, hit that bottom point and bounce up off of it and keep going. Because again, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. But there's
Mm.
something hardwired in many of us where we're okay with the risk, but we have to be okay knowing that there's going to be days we have to just push through stuff we don't like, that doesn't feel good, that doesn't bring us joy, that doesn't make us comfortable. And to your point, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, that's the nature of this. We make decisions. We have to push things forward. We bring things out there. We put ourselves out there in a way most people don't. And it doesn't always land the way we hope. And that's okay. Because at the other side of all that is the success you're hoping for. But you have to be able to push through to get there.
You have to push through to get there. You're absolutely right. Listen, you got to if you have passion, I'm going to tell you the difference right now.
Mm.
100% of the difference. If you're chasing money, pain's going to be painful.
Yep.
It's going to suck. You're going to want to quit. It's not going to be worth it.
Mm.
If you're chasing a passion or a purpose, you got a mission.
Yep.
You don't even feel the pain. I mean, you do initially,
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden you almost become sadistic, and it's like, give me more. Now, you got to adopt David Goggins' mindset. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me.
Yep.
What are you going to do that can hurt me? You're going to say something about me? I've heard it all. I don't. For it to hurt me, I'd have to care about your opinion. I don't care about your opinion.
Right.
I just don't. Right. If you're not in my inner circle, if you're not somebody that is a mentor of mine, or my family, and even some of them, I don't care about your opinion. Right. I'm going to do what I'm doing. I got enough people around me to correct me if I'm wrong or have their, and you know me, I ask everybody their opinion. What do you think? Is this good for us? Or whatever like that. And then when the decision's made, it's all going in. There's no stopping me. There's no stopping it. So you got to get comfortable. Just like if you're a running back in the NFL, right? We talked about football earlier. When you got that ball and you got somebody going to hit you anywhere from a 300-pound lineman to a 170-pound free safety that's running at you at the speed of light, it's all going to hurt.
Mm.
Boom. Get back up, right? Yep. Let's do it again, right? Let's go. You can't hurt me, and I can promise you that with every breakdown you have that you break through, it makes you stronger. And I said to somebody today, I said, I don't have a thick skin. I have a tortoise shell all the way around me. There's nothing you can say that will offend me. Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
Yep.
So you say, if I'm talking, because listen, in our meetings, man, when I get going, I might say cuss words. I like cuss words, right?
Yeah, that happens.
Say cuss words. And if I'm offended, I tell everybody, if I offend you, please send me a private message and let me know. I prefer you not to talk that way. I'll do my very best not to use cuss words. Yep. But if one slips out, please don't be offended. I'm just,
exactly
slipping out. That's his passion coming out my porky pig mouth that doesn't have a big word to say.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it's for, it's how we elaborate. It's how we show that we're excited or passionate or interested in something. But, the other day, my daughter, who's 7, was down here in my office, and she was looking at the picture above my head, and it says "Dreams weigh more than excuses," and it's a picture of a seesaw, and there's a butterfly on one side, and on that side the seesaw is way down. There's an elephant on the other, and the elephant's way up. So obviously, butterflies to dreams, they weigh more, so it's pushing the elephant up. And the analogy really is that although those excuses are big and heavy and feel like they're going to be the dominant piece, really that dream is going to outweigh those excuses. You just have to understand that. You have to realize the fact that if you really want something and you really, you see that vision and you want to bring that vision forward, and you want that result and you're willing to commit, that dream will weigh more than the excuses. The excuses won't stop you like it seems like they should. And we've had a hell of a week here making some decisions, and all good stuff. But again, like we had to go all the way through that process, all the way through the painful process from point A to point Z. You can't skip steps. You can't skip through it. You have to, you've got to feel it. I heard somebody say, it might've been even Brene Brown, like, give yourself a chance to feel that situation, feel what you're feeling, feel what you're thinking, let that kind of wash over you and get through it. Because again, the only way to get to the breakthrough is to get through the breakdown. But it's okay to acknowledge how you feel and where you're at and why you're stuck and why it doesn't feel good. But it doesn't mean that that's your reason to stop. You give that enough weight to stop. You feel it, you acknowledge it, and you move forward. And that's what we're doing. And it's been very rewarding. We feel like what we're bringing forward and the changes that we're making and the moves we're going to make are going to be very rewarding to our clients and partners and the people around us. Because we are very much, and this is a phrase I used last night on the phone. I've never taken so many phone calls or video calls at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night as I have the last week or so. They've all been hugely valuable, but I used the comment the other day to somebody of, we are impact over income people. We want to go make an impact. We have a lot of great things we can add. We feel like we can help a lot of agents, and we've got great case studies and testimonials of where we have, and that's okay. We can make the impact first. We can go change people's lives. We can show them what can be done. We've already gone through that breakthrough. We've already had that moment to see what we're doing and why it's so important. We're okay sharing that with people to help them have the same one. And eventually it'll take care of us. But for now, we're looking for ways we can impact and help people.
People over profits. That's what I always
Totally.
say. I want to, if you help enough people, your profits will be fine. Too many people are just so hell focused on the next sale, the sale. The KPI. What's my ROI? What's your ROI on a good relationship? What's your ROI on everybody seeing your channel? What's your ROI on you getting 10,000 views? What's your ROI on starting a charity and giving back thousands of dollars a year to the community? What's your ROI on that? Some people are so shallow that they do the charitable thing as a sales thing, as a marketing thing, and as soon as the market constricts a little, they stop giving.
Yep.
Oh, aren't you a fair weather freaking contributor though?
Oh yeah, I mean, charity's great when it's comfortable, but the minute it's not, that's the first thing that you stop committing to. And we've seen it many times where everybody says one thing and does one thing when the market's up and doing well, and then they do something totally different when the market is down. And then they kind of don't want to acknowledge that, so they just kind of go under the radar. Then they come right back with what they were doing. And I think that's the nature of entrepreneurship. I think it's the nature of people that are, of a scarcity mindset. They're trying to protect their incomes. And don't get us wrong, you need KPIs. You need to measure your ROI. You need to make money. Like, it's really hard to live in this world without money. Like, we're not saying that making money is a bad thing, but what we're saying is that that's not the only thing. Making money is not the only thing. Having an impact, changing people's lives, helping other people, being part of your community, that to us is more rewarding than just having a massive year and putting a bunch of money in my pocket. Because at the end of the day, I'm not taking the money with me. It's going to buy me some entertainment and some fun and some security and comfort, which is great. But I'm not changing anything around me with that. There's nothing in my community or in my family or in my immediate area that changes just because I had a great year and made a bunch of money. Like, I want to be able to point to the fact that I made a difference where I am, that I made a difference in this industry, that I've helped people succeed. And that to me is worth far more than just a massive year in a business.
Huh. Well, what we need to do is start marketing you as Sir Harrison Smith, the Duke of Biddeford.
Yeah. Well, I was joking with a buddy of mine a month or so ago, and talking about some of the stuff we're up to, and he's like, "Well, geez, might as well just paint a red cross on the side of your car because all you want to do is give." And I'm like, "But yeah, I do. Like, I do want to give. I want to have. That's why we offer a bunch of free training and a ton of free downloadables, and all this. Most of the stuff we do is free. There is a paid service, and that for those people that want to really ramp up and blow their businesses up, there's a paid service there. But we're also happy to give away a lot of it because we do feel like it could change your life, your business, your family's life. But hopefully some of that gets to the community and you help make the area that you're in a better place, because then that allows us to take the impact we make, and it's exponentially greater when other people are doing it too.
It's like this, right? I got an inn, and if you're passing through and you're thirsty and hungry, I'll give you a granola bar, an apple, and a water.
Mhm.
Take with you. Can't stay here. That's the free.
Yep.
You want to stay here, rest, put your feet up, take a shower. That's the paid service.
Yep.
You're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a sit down meal. You're going to get you know what I mean? You're going to get the attention.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let anybody go without. So I'm going to give you the free thing, right? But you want something more? That costs. That's just the way life is.
It is.
And I'm worth it, right? And you have to say that too out there, people listening.
Mhm.
I'm worth it. I was debating recently whether I deserved the fee that I'm getting on a listing. It's a lot. That's a lot to me.
Mhm.
And it's a lot to anybody. Don't let anybody fool you. And I'm like, did I really work that? You know, it wasn't how much I worked. It's the knowledge that I had to be able to put that package together and get them more than asking price with a favorable
Yeah.
offer that closes. They get their money, and then they got 30 days to move.
Yeah, give that engine example, or that engine analogy you and David were talking about yesterday that I thought was pretty good.
So there was this big cargo ship, and the engine wasn't running. They spent millions of dollars on this cargo ship. They called up this mechanic, this engineer mechanic. He came over. He looked at the engine. He took his hammer out, and he made 2 taps in one area. Things started right up. Told him that'll be $10,000, please. And the owner of the boat was like, $10,000? I'm not paying $10,000. All you did was hitting a place with a hammer twice. I want an itemized list. So he gave him an itemized list. He said, hitting the engine with a hammer, $5. Knowing where to hit the engine with a hammer, $9,995. Right? Because,
Yep.
and that's the thing when talking to David, he's one of the smartest people that I know, right? He's brilliant in the space that he's in. And will change humanity and how humanity approaches their digital legacy. So, I mean, real smart guy. Glad that I even get 5 minutes with him.
Right. Yeah, because that's the kind of guy that if you wanted to call him for a coaching engagement or something like that, it's $1,000-$1,500. I mean, that he's worth
Easy.
5 times that, but he won't
Yeah.
charge you that because he's too nice a guy.
Right.
But this is the guy that Google brings in to help them better understand Google. He's consulted with Facebook. He's consulted with all the big firms out there. Like when it comes to digital marketing and anything online related, I mean, he is one of the preeminent guys in the marketplace, and just a
Ninja.
super great human.
Yeah. He's a ninja. He wants to help. He wants to give back, but we all deserve to get paid too.
Sure.
And with him, I'm like, you got to get paid for your knowledge. And he says, absolutely right. You get paid for your experience because you know how to solve the problem. Anybody can do what he does. Anybody can do what you do. Anybody can do what I do.
Yep.
It's taken me 51 years to know me. It's taken me 20 years in the real estate space to truly understand real estate at a high level too, right? Prior to that, I was a network engineer. I got some experience around systems and these types of things and transactions and all that other stuff. I get paid for my knowledge. So after I thought about it for a bit, no, I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm worth whatever I charge, whatever I say. And I'm usually pretty fair. Whatever I say, that's what it is.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, that's part of that breakthrough. It's having that confidence to be like, I'm scared to ask for that. I'm scared to say that I'm worth that. I'm scared to say that this program is worth that. But you have to have that breakthrough but look at the result it can get. We have partners that do all this video stuff with us, and they pay for that, but they also close enough business where they're getting a 5, 6, 7, 8x return on it. No different than if they bought Zillow leads. I continually see people, everybody on the Facebook groups, rag on Zillow. Zillow's the worst. They're killing this industry, but I can't wait to write them a check next month. Send me more leads. And it's, it's one of those things that you have to laugh about because it is so, the thinking on that is so backwards, but I get it. Like that's what we're hooked on. That's what we know. That's what we're addicted to. We need that flow of leads. Again, to the example you had of the person that audited their CRM and found all these sales that never went anywhere that should have. it's not about the flow of leads. It's not about the number of people coming in. It's about what you're doing once they get there. Um,
Mhm.
and if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't communicate well, if you're not doing those things, you're just burning money to feel good about what's coming in, but you're not actually getting anything from it. And I see that a lot with people I talk to. It's, I got a closing this month, next month, and I got nothing after that. And I think in some cases that's not abnormal, that to have those peaks and valleys where you kind of have some things happen and it gets quiet again. Um, but I've never heard so many people with that angst of, once this one closes next week or in 2 weeks, I got nothing. Like, what am I going to do? I need more leads. Well, what are you doing with the leads you have? What are you doing with the database you have? What are you doing with the people you know? There are so many other options. But again, like, you have to have that moment where you realize, again, back to the breakthrough, where you realize that what you think you need is not necessarily what you need, because what you need is already there. You're just not using it because you're measuring the wrong thing. You're searching for the wrong thing. You're looking for something different, um, and what feels easy versus what's a little bit harder but potentially more rewarding. And that's a battle we go through all the time.
For sure. Always. Right. For me, there's got to be joy attached to it.
Mm.
Right. If there's joy attached to it, you're going to embrace the suck. And that's one of the questions that I ask people because listen, this ain't a don't make money. It's all about making money.
You
Okay.
got to
It's all
make money at
about
some point.
quality of life.
Yep.
Right. So the two questions I ask myself is, does this bring me joy? How much does it pay?
Yep.
I had somebody reach out to me just recently that wanted to connect. They're building a company and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to pass. I don't have time. I don't have time or desire to meet to listen to you about your idea. And well, what's in it for me? You want my advice? I'm not giving out advice right now. I'm focused on me. Okay. If you're not a paying customer or a business partner or something else like that, I don't have time. I don't have time for you. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm busy focusing on me. And it's taken me 51 years to realize that the most important person in my life is me. The only person I should be focusing on is me, because without a happy, healthy self, I can't help anybody else. So if that's a distraction, oh, you want me to come over here and give you advice, good luck in your business.
Right.
Good luck in your business. I'm no interest in being an affiliate. I have no interest in being a business partner with anybody at this point. I'm not looking to invest anything. If any money I make goes back into Explore My Town.
Right.
And so you got to understand where these time sucks are, cut them out of your life, focus on the most important things that you're focused on, and everything is going to be okay. So for me, does this bring me joy? Well, that other phone, no, it doesn't bring me joy. How much money's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because listen, I'm human. You want to pay me some obscene amount of money to do a project? I'll do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I'll do it. Might not love it, it might not bring joy, but if it's bringing me a ridiculous amount of money, I'll do it. I'm in. And then sometimes.
Sometimes. No, very true. At the end of the day, you've got to make money. You've got to provide. You've got to be able to pay your bills. That's you got to, when you think of the hierarchy of needs, you need to have those basic needs covered. But again, I go back to, we talk about impact over income. There needs to be an income component to that. Otherwise, the impact we make is small. So do we give stuff away for free? Absolutely. Do we give probably more away for free than we probably should? Yeah, maybe. I think there's some cases. And do I take calls I probably shouldn't and help people out that really should be in a coaching or training program? Yeah, I do. Because I genuinely want to see people succeed. But there is a line where you've got to say, okay, like, I can't continue to just like let you pick my brain and give it all away when I'm making these people over here pay for that. So there's got to be a line there, because you can't just keep giving it all away for free. But ultimately, our focus is on impacting this industry, impacting our own businesses, impacting our communities, because ultimately from all that, the income will come, which then allows us to further accelerate that impact. But you can't, back to my analogy of painting a red cross on the side of my car, you can't do it for free forever. You've got to make some money. You have to be able to monetize what you're doing, monetize your business, get out of that what you need, because that impact is limited. If you can't pay your bills and there's nothing left over, that impact is limited. And for us, impact is such a big piece of it, which is why we're so excited about what we're working on here, because the impact could be huge, but you have to get through that breakdown or that moment of, is this going to work? Am I going to make it? Will I be okay? The answer to all those is usually yes. You just have to stick with it to reach that breakthrough.
The thing what grinds my gears, one thing that grinds my gears is And this is why I had to become selfish with my time. There's only so much time, right? There's only so much time.
Time
And
is the
either
asset.
I can help myself, my company, my clients, and my family, or I can help somebody else who isn't contributing, right?
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Here's the deal. I will help you. I'm probably going to send you a link to a blog with a video attached to
Right.
it. And then when I follow up in a week or two and I say, hey, what'd you think about that? And you say, haven't had a chance to watch it yet, I'm done with you.
Yep.
Okay. I'm done with you. Don't reach out to me ever again because you're not willing to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, neither am I.
Yeah. If you can't spend 5 minutes
You,
reading a blog or watching a video that I made that answers your question, then you really weren't that serious with the question to begin with.
you weren't. You're just looking for somebody to give you the answer.
Yep.
Nobody can just give you the answer. You have to think and ponder and come up with that and make a conscious decision what's best for you, your business, your family, whatever it might be. You have to make that decision. Whether that's joining a coaching program, whether that's going independent, whether that's joining a franchise or an anti-franchise or changing brokerages or bringing on a buyer's agent or stepping out of production, right? These decisions don't just happen.
Yep.
You have
No,
to
they
think
don't.
about them.
They don't. And like we talked about last week, you want to surround yourself with people that are going to make you better, but you can't always assume those people are just going to pour into you forever for nothing. Like, what are you offering back? What's the value you're offering back? How are you helping them? How are you making that mutually beneficial and preventing yourself from being the person that just continually asks and takes and takes and takes? But with that, Johnny Moe, we got to wrap up here. So what do you have for us for a parting thought this week?
Oh, that's a good one. Listen, successful people will help you. Okay.
They will.
But they have to see you helping yourself.
Yep.
If you're not willing to help yourself, there's no successful person I know out there that is going to invest too much time or energy into you because they don't have it.
Yep.
When you do your time value may be $50 an hour, $100 an hour. I value my time at $2,500 an hour. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I get paid $2,500 an hour.
Sure.
But if I ain't doing $2,500 an hour work, I sure the hell don't want to do $25 an hour work, and I'm nobody's therapist.
Yep.
Right? I don't want to be your therapist. I ain't interested in hearing about your problems. I don't mean this negatively.
No, it just is what it is.
I don't have so much energy to give out every single day, but successful people will help you.
Yep.
If they see you helping yourself. Some people, we're about to get a major leg up, and that person will help us. They sure the heck aren't going to help us if they see us just kicking back, messing up, screwing up, not being accountable, not being responsible, and not being front-centered and forward delivering.
Yep.
So before you ask for help, ask yourself if you've extracted all of your avenues and if you have done the uncomfortable work. Because if you haven't done the uncomfortable work, I just don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
It sounds harsh. It sounds harsh.
Don't ask for help and then do nothing with it.
If you ask for help and do nothing with it, if you're not willing to look in the mirror and have that deep, hard conversation with yourself, there's nothing I can do to help you. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's true. It's, Jerry Maguire, help me help you. If you're not going to do anything with it, if you're not willing to go through it and deal with it and act on it, then asking for help is pointless. You're just wasting somebody's time. If you're going to ask them, get the answer and then do nothing with it.
I like that.
So, all right. For me, parting thought is, going back to the topic here, breakdowns and breakthroughs. It is so important as business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, whatever business you're in, whatever you call yourself, team lead, et cetera, et cetera. It is so important that you understand that there are going to be days where you question yourself. There are going to be days you question your decisions. There are going to be days you question your direction. There's going to be days you just wonder out loud, am I going to make it? Is this going to work? What could I do differently? And that's okay. You need to feel that. You need to go through that, but you don't need to let that stop you. You need to learn from that and either keep plowing ahead, or maybe you make a pivot, maybe you do make a small change, but sitting there and wallowing in the what ifs are not going to get you where you want to go. I tell my kids all the time, and my wife too, worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. So don't let the worrying and the fear and the uncertainty stop you from moving forward. Go through that exercise, feel it, write it down, write the questions down. What questions do you have and answer them? Give yourself an answer how do I get here? Here's all my ideas, but then go execute on them, because the only way you get to the breakthrough is to push through the breakdown.
Yeah.
And the longer you stick with it, the more you stick with it, the more committed you are, the easier it's going to be to get through to that. But don't let that process of wondering and worrying stop you from moving forward.
I got my book right here. I write things down all day long.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, me too. I'm constantly keeping notes. And there are
Yep.
days I write down the question of, why can't I get this? How could I get there? And I answer it. I jot down all the ideas I have, because what I find out is for every problem I've got at least 3 ideas. So now it's just a matter of, okay, now I got to go execute on those, because you know the direction, you know how to get there, you know what you need to do, and committing to that path and that plan will almost always get you through the breakdown. But you have to go through the exercise to figure out, how am I going to get through this, and then actually go and get through it.
Manifestation requires work.
It does. 100%. So, all right, Johnny Mo, with that, we're going to wrap up for this week. Hope everybody had a great week. In the Real Estate Community Leaders Facebook group, we put up the question of what were your wins for this week? Let's celebrate some wins together. So if you want to jump in there, give us some wins. We're happy to cheer everybody on. There's enough business out there for everybody. We want to see everybody succeed. There's no reason we can't all succeed. So get in there, share some wins with us. Let's celebrate each other. Keep the positivity, keep the forward momentum. And we're always here to help if you need us. So with that, Johnny Mo and everybody else out there, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.